So, hi and welcome. It's just so beautiful to see you all. I cannot even explain. Um, I personally started these virtual full moon circles in March when everything kicked off. Might have been April actually, because I felt so strongly that need for community. And just to explain a little bit more about that, I have a very strong belief that it's through individual women connecting to their feminine and reigniting that, remembering it, not necessarily from our lifetime, but from the generations that have passed before us, because sadly we have gone through a long period, millennia now, of being subjugated, and the feminine energy being suppressed by patriarchy. I have and I'm sure I share this with many of you on here, a very strong belief that as we find that again in ourselves, as we find it, as we accept it initially, because it can be a hard process, but then fall in love with it and then come together with other women who are going through that process and who are rising through that, as the feminine as a whole rises, and that balance is recreated between the masculine and the feminine. That is when this state, this earth, this planet that we are in will heal. And no more than now is that needed. And in fact, what I believe is that what we're seeing happening right now is as a result of that happening. I see so much positive in what is coming and what has happened this year. A lot of despair, of course, but so much positive. And I just feel that this bringing of women together is just so fundamental. And so I wanted to offer something for free where we could do that. We could just come together. And a couple of months ago now, I went to one of Katie's workshops. So Katie and I have been Facebook acquaintances for a while. And I went to one of Katie's workshops, and I just thought it was so powerful what she teaches. And so I invited her to come today, and I'm so glad she's here, and I'm so looking forward to learning more from her and sharing this experience with you all. So to start with, I just want to open the circle officially. So if you can get yourselves really comfortable, try and be grounded in some way, whether it's your feet on the floor or some part of your body on the floor. Just close your eyes. And I just want you to take some breaths through your nose. Now, I personally don't like to prescribe to you how you breathe, because it's going to be individual depending on your capacity, your emotional capacity, your physical capacity in the moment. So, but I want you to do is just start to take some steady breaths through your nose and out through your nose. Perhaps to a count that feels comfortable to you, just so you create a rhythm. And you want to be breathing as deeply down as you can, and just really imagine, I like to teach to imagine that you are flooding your womb space as you breathe. So breathing down rhythmically. And as you breathe, I want you to be conscious of relaxing your body. Being aware of areas that feel more tense. Perhaps taking a few moments to concentrate your breath into that area to relax it. Really letting go of any weight that you're carrying with you as much as you can. I want you to feel the women that sit beside you in this circle. Feel their presence around you. Under this glorious full moon. Grandmother Moon shines brightly above us, bringing us together as she has brought generations of women together before us. Know that you are surrounded here by 43 other women, but that you are intrinsically and deeply connected to every woman who lives on this earth right now, every woman that has lived before, and every woman that is to come. Know that you are so safe in this space, that you are in a place where there is no judgment, that you are surrounded by love, acceptance, and you are with women who hold the desire to raise their vibration with you and to raise the vibration of the planet, that together we hold immense power. As you breathe, imagine a light entering down from the moon, down into your crown. And as you breathe down, see the light passing down through your forehead, into your throat, into your heart, flooding down, filling your womb space. See it there, swirling around. With each breath, feel it rooting further and further down. Down through your cervix, rooting down into Mother Earth. And for this moment, just sit quietly and feel that connection from the moon, Grandmother Moon, down through you, through your womb space, rooting down into Mother Earth. This sacred connection that nobody can take away, and it holds with it such immense power. And it is the magical, sacred gift of being a woman. And then when you're ready, just as you breathe out gently, just release. Let your breath just gently come back to a more natural rhythm. You can hold the light in your womb. If it feels comfortable, you can let it go completely if you want to for now. I don't want you to stay rooted in this moment, but as it feels comfortable. Just slowly bring yourself back. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. I always try and find something to read from one of these books by Tanya Markle. Don't know if you've got these books, the She book. I'm trying to be guided to it naturally. So I opened this one, number 104 for today. The full moon blessing, would you believe? May you discover what it truly means to love and accept yourself in this lifetime. So if you have got a candle and you want to light it, I always light a candle for my friend Lucy, who passed away in January. She was a great believer of this work and one of the most magical souls I've ever known. And I always bring her into the circle by lighting a candle. So if you would like to do the same and bring a woman into the circle in that way, please do. Thank you. Oh, it's amazing to read, Emma. I'm so happy to read that. Okay, so the way that my full moon circles normally go is that I teach something, and then we dance, and then we do meditation. And all of that is handed over to Katie today. So we are going to have a little chat first about Kundalini, because I have an understanding, but not anything of great depth. So, I mean, I'd love to hear a little bit about you, Casey, and how you came to this work, and then maybe it will naturally lead into, you know, explaining to us, you know, what this is, why we're here, and then I imagine that will naturally, organically lead to us dancing. And so, yeah, just go with it. We're here, and we are very excited to learn from you.
Thank you, and thanks for inviting me. And if I don't know if you can hear various noises in the background here. I'm staying in a hostel in Turkey at the moment, and this morning I thought that everybody had left, and in the last few hours, 20 people have arrived, and they're all having a party in the communal area not far from my room. so, so apologies if you're thinking what is going on there, and but yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you. And yeah, what would you like to know?
Tell us your journey. Like, tell us about your journey, and then that will probably lead to you explaining your experience. It must have I'm guessing you had an experience that led you to this. So yeah, just flow with it.
Yeah, well, there's been several experiences. The first one that was the biggest one was in 2007, and it was the week of the Lionsgate portal in August. And I was in Kathmandu in Nepal, and I was studying a classical Nepalese Buddhist dance, which I didn't know at that point is very connected with working with Kundalini. And I was reading the autobiography of a yogi, and I'd been having lots of dreams where I was sitting in clouds with yogis who were doing attunement type things on me and teaching me things. And this had been happening for a few weeks. And then one evening, I was just brushing my teeth, ready to go to bed, and I felt this whoosh go up my spine. All my perception of hearing, of sight, of distance disappeared, and I fainted, and it was like my body had gone into a short circuit, and I didn't know. It was probably a few months before I really realized that it was connected with Kundalini. 6 months later, something else happened, and that took me into um, I guess like the depths of a dark night of the soul, and this was for about 2 months where I just couldn't really move out of bed, and was very emotional. Lots of I started to realize a lot of things about my life, and I I knew that there was something deeper with belly dance. I was working as a professional belly dancer and living in India, and I'd always known that there was something deeper to it than the aesthetic of it. And suddenly I started to get very clear messages that there's this thing that you need to do with belly dance, and it's for healing, it's a therapy. And I was saying, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, I don't know where to start. And I just got this very clear message: if you don't do this, you're going to die. It was as black and white as that. And I could feel my body was dying in that time as well. And so then things started to happen, where I found a teacher who was teaching Gurdjieff sacred movement. So I was studying that, and Osho dynamic meditation, Sufi whirling, and this helped me to start to understand what was happening in my body. And also I started to see lots of correlations between my work with, I was teaching Reiki and doing massage, and also I'd studied Tai Chi. So I started to see connections where I hadn't before, and just started to experiment on myself. So that went on for a few years, and I knew that before anything, I had to learn how to manage the energy within me, because it was untamed. I don't know if it's tamed now, but it's definitely more managed. And yeah, I mean, so many things happened. It's hard to put it in a nutshell, but since that time, I had another 2 times of really huge Kundalini activations, again in random places and spontaneously. One was then I was living in Bali. This was 5 years ago, and it was during that one that I got the final insights into the theory for what became awakened belly dance. And I was kind of out of my body for about 5 days, and somewhere in the cosmos talking to a being who gave me a lot of information. And then also over the years, from when I was a child, I was communicating with the god Thoth from the ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses. And again, as a child, I didn't realize who it was or what was happening, and I was terrified. And it was only as I got older that I realized who it was and what the information was that was coming through. And it just took me about 12 years to just put it all together and integrate it. And it's still evolving now. Like the next levels are coming through now. And then I started to experiment on other people, and then developed a training, and with the theory behind it from the information that I was channeling. And it's linked with brain waves and chakras, and then with the ancient Egyptian alchemical stages as well, and music and the movements. So yeah, for me, it's really been a trial by Kundalini fire, I guess you could say, because I have really lived in the shadow of Kundalini, and had to come through it, and really embrace it as well, and not be afraid. And through that, it's meant that I'm able to support others with not only Kundalini awakenings. It can be many different things, but especially with Kundalini, a lot of people come to me, or they experience Kundalini activation when working with me, because it's like a domino effect. If it's active in you, it's going to activate to some extent in somebody else as well, and not always when you think it's going to be.
So tell me again when your first experience was. What year was it?
2007.
2007. Okay. I think it's interesting that I don't know how much you know or have studied or learned about the end of the Mayan calendar in 2012, and how there was like a big belief that actually that was just the end of patriarchy, and like ever since, like so many women around that time have been having these awakenings. Yours obviously
Yeah.
came before, but it's interesting. So if you were going to summarize for us what Kundalini is? Like, because you're referring to, you know, these activations and the awakening, but like what is happening? Like how would you like summarize it? Like Idiot's Guide to Kundalini.
Okay. It's, I would say it's like your energy in its rawest form. So it's the total purest essence of you. And once that gets activated, you can't hide from yourself anymore. You can't hide yourself from the world. And you you're taken on an alchemical process within yourself, within the masculine and the feminine within you, and into the integration of that. And it's a really, yeah, it's the trial by fire. That's what comes to me. I mean, I from the last time, which was about 2 years ago, I after that I'm not going to show you because it's at the top of my bum crack, but I've got like a portion of skin that's actually physically burnt because there was so much fire coming out of my sacral that it burnt the skin physically, and now it's stayed like that. So now it looks like a birthmark. So I feel that once you're working with the Kundalini, there has to be channels to, because it just builds up and builds up. There's so much, it's never ending, and you need to have a focus for that. And creativity is perfect in whatever form that might be.
Mm. And in your experience, is it like having a Kundalini activation or awakening? Is that often first time for people, like catch them by surprise, or is it something that people like go out and look for? Like what, you know, I imagine many people here wouldn't even like necessarily know where to start with
Yeah.
that, you know.
Yeah, and also, I mean, from what I've just said in the last few minutes, it can sound really scary as well,
Mm,
um, and especially when you don't understand. But for me, by the second and third time, I knew what was happening. I knew what the signs were, so
mm,
I knew how to manage it, and I just had to ride it out while
mm,
it lasted,
mm,
and I knew what support, and that, like with acupuncture and kind of different herbs and things, I knew what to use. But the first time, I just had no clue and nobody could tell me. And I think for in this time, I've met three other people who have had something similar happen to them.
mm,
And and obviously, because if if it's happening like this in such a whoosh, then it does cause a short circuit in your body. And this is what happened to me. It kind of burnt my nervous system out, my adrenals. So half of what I had to do was supporting my physical body because my adrenals were shot to pieces. Um, Whereas if you're working with it gradually, say like a lot of people go to Kundalini yoga to do this, or Tantra, then you're doing it step by step
mhm,
in manageable stages, and you're understanding how to raise it, and also how to just yeah, keep it at a plateau rather than just going whoosh, because people want to just go, oh yeah, enlightenment and Kundalini and I'm switched on and everything.
mhm,
But what they don't realize is that the most important thing about working with Kundalini is working with the root, and it's to get really, really in your body. So it's so much, you're so much in your body that you can go so much out of your body. If you're just going out, then you're lost. You're off in the clouds, and it's very difficult to get back in. And I know this because also I've experienced it, and it's really, it can really be like you're hanging on by a thread. So you have to go completely into your physical self, and into the embodiment of you, so that through that you can explore and expand outside of yourself. So it's a tricky business. That's what I would say.
Yeah, but I mean, well, to do that, to start that process, you would do you do Kundalini yoga, meditation. That's like a starting point for people. That's what you'd recommend.
Yeah, well,
Dance.
yeah, well, obviously I'd recommend Awaken Belly Dance.
Yeah.
But in the general, like of choices in the world, a lot of people go for Tantra or for Kundalini Yoga as an option.
Mm-hmm.
With Awaken Belly Dance, we're really working with this embodiment and with the movements and how to work with Kundalini safely and in a way that is integrated within the body.
And so, and is that what you're going to lead us through tonight?
Yes, yeah, some like a little taster of of working with it.
Yeah.
and and really a lot of it, as I said at the beginning, this is about your primal self, your raw self. So the more communication you have with your body, the more you listen to your body, the more you're going to be connected to Kundalini. It doesn't have to be fireworks and explosions and a big drama like I had. It's it can be very soft because it's a feminine energy. It's like in India, what they call Shakti. So this can be a really kind of ferocious Kali type fire, and it can also be like a little girl and very soft and very nurturing. And once you get to know your own energy more, then you can choose more about, okay, do I need the fire now? Do I need the softness now? Like what part do I need? I'm
I mean,
just looking if there was a question.
yeah, there was. I think you've answered it. I tried to ask you as we were going through that, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting that you refer to that, because when I teach women about the phases of their cycle and the maiden, the mother, the enchantress, and the crone, what I really want is for them and support women to connect to those different archetypes within them, so that as we actually pass through into the menopause, we become what's called a complete woman, and we can draw on those aspects of ourselves as we want to, because we know them so well. And when I was doing the workshop with you, and when was it now, October or September, but it's going so fast time, but the experience that I said afterwards was that little girl kind of experience that you described, that vulnerability. I felt very vulnerable actually afterwards, but in a nice kind of way. Like I felt just like softened and like ready to be held.
Yeah.
So I totally relate to what you've said there, and I know we haven't got the time that whole process took in that workshop, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to do this process and see what people get out of it.
Yeah.
Are you ready for us to start?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
just wanted to add that a lot of people hear the word Kundalini and they just think that it's related to sex,
Mm,
and it's it always comes back to you. It doesn't have to be connected with sex. It's like going into the more tantric side of it. It's really, yeah, an awakening of your truth,
mm,
and then what you do with that truth once she's awakened, and how you can work with that and really go into the shadows of yourself. Like I feel that Kundalini work is very much about shadow work,
mm,
and because like I said, you can't hide from yourself anymore. And a lot of people find that when their Kundalini becomes more awakened, that they become more daring in what they do. They make huge changes in their life. They yeah they just know themselves more and can be more honest in the world. And then if that's also taken into sex, then it's a bonus. So
and
but yeah, it always comes back to you.
And I think, you know what, just quickly, if you don't mind me just reflecting on that, I listened to something a few months ago now about how the structure that we live within in today's world is it really rests and needs us. And when I talk about the structure, I'm talking about the machine, you know, I'm not, you know, the patriarchy as it stands and the kind of systems that rule us right now. They rely on us actually not going within ourselves and knowing ourselves in that way and being able to speak our truth. They rely on us actually believing in a cause. I thought it was so interesting when I heard this, believing in a cause outside of ourselves and looking to that cause as a way to validate who we are and the choices that we make, whatever that might be, the environment, like whatever it is that people are being drawn to attach to. It's not coming from within, it's coming from a force outside of them that's telling them that that's what they're supposed to do. And we all kind of follow this, and then we can be guided to whichever way they want to guide us, because we're all part and moving towards that thing outside of ourselves. And if we actually look within, which is what they discourage in every aspect of their being, if we actually look within and, you know ourselves and come from a place of responsibility, personal responsibility for who we are and what we, you know, healing ourselves and then taking that out into the world. If we do that, then the world will change and will be good and will be everything that they're professing these causes are going to do. But it's coming from a place of sovereignty, and that is so needed right now for us to go within, know ourselves, know our truth, and come at everything from a place of sovereignty. Because once we do that as individuals and then come together as a collective, you know, that's really when what needs to happen right now will happen. So this work that you're doing, that you're going to teach us now, is so important always, but so important right now, because, you know, it's essential in fact.
Yeah, and I always say the strongest form of activism or protest that you can do is to truly know yourself, because we're conditioned out of it. And imagine if everybody really connected with themselves and perceived and acted in the world from that place, it would be very, very different. And yeah, we wouldn't need to be out on the streets protesting. It's like this is an inner activism. And
Yeah,
this is what interests me.
yeah, it's actually so powerful. It's so powerful. And I'm feeling that more and more. Been through a process this year, shouting, come on everyone, wake up, to actually no, let's just move within more.
Yeah.
So yeah, very excited. Okay, so as much as everyone's happy to, we're going to stand up and need to get, I know when you did this workshop we didn't have our videos on, but I like it if everyone sees each other, so we'll stand up.
I'm just gonna wriggle my laptop a little bit. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see where this goes. It This process is, it's always intuitive. So I never really know the path that it's going to take. I'm listening to my body, and I'm also listening to your bodies as well as to where we need to go to. So it's an adventure. Okay, so first of all, if you take your feet a little bit wider than hip width and bend your knees and bring your hands onto your thighs. So you're quite low down. Yeah. And then close your eyes and breathe through your mouth. As you keep breathing through your mouth, just really gently moving your tailbone, like you're a puppy with a little tail. You're really gently zigzagging from side to side. And breathing through your mouth, breathing in, and breathing out all the way through your spine, through your tailbone. If you bring your head so that you're looking down to the ground, so that your head and neck are all in one line. So I'm going to keep talking while you do this. So you're aligning through your back, and breathing through your mouth and down through your spine, through your tailbone. And keeping your eyes closed. Bending your knees. And looking inside of yourself all the way to the tip of your tailbone, so you can see a zigzag of light. And tiny, tiny zigzags of light moving through your tailbone and through your roots. Keep breathing into this. If it's difficult to lean on your thighs, you can do it standing up. And just making tiny, tiny movements like you're wobbling through your tailbone. And as you continue to do this, we're going to make a sound from the back of our throat. And it's like a crackling sound. So you breathe in. As you breathe out through your spine to your tailbone. Open your mouth wide. Do this 3 or 4 times and feel like you're breaking up the stagnant energy that you're holding in the base of your spine. Keep zigzagging your tailbone, breathing. And then this time, as you breathe out with your crackling, coming up to stand, and keep the zigzag through the base of your spine. Feel the crackling moving through your pelvis, through your womb space, and across the back of your sacral. As you see the zigzags of light through your pelvic bone, through your tailbone, notice where the light shines brightest, where there's breaks in where the strongest connections are. And just noticing what's happening with the energy within you. Softening your knees, taking your hips back and round. Keep breathing through your mouth. And you might want to continue with the crocodile crackling sound. So really slowly, so that you can feel every part of the movement. Breathe through your mouth. And feel the earth supporting you. And then again, come back to your center. This zigzagging, make it a little bit stronger. And breathing into your fingertips and holding the energy at your roots. And noticing the color of the energy within you, the shape, the size. Is it hot or cold or electric? And beginning to make tiny, tiny internal circles. Finding the starting point of your inner energy. Circling your hips like a spiral. Really slow and really small. And bit by bit, these spirals become bigger and more solid as you expand your light from the inside out. Breathe through your mouth. Breathing into your tailbone, your yoni, into your roots. Then expanding your light through your root. You might find you get hotter or tingly, colder. Breathing into your fingertips. Spirals become bigger, expanding, and holding your light, your hands just side of your hips. Hold your energy and feel her increasing. It's like you're setting the stage or opening a platform that your Kundalini can rise from and work from when the time is right. But for now, we're just opening the root and clearing the space. spiraling and opening. Using your hands to circle around your hips, clearing and releasing anything that isn't serving you, any resistances or sabotages that you've created, maybe through shame, through guilt, through not believing that you deserve to access your true and inner power. All of these judgments and all of these old contracts that you've made to stay small and to not allow this inner power of you to open and integrate within your body. Clearing and releasing, transmuting, because remember, you have the power to create and you also have the power to transmute. All of it is held in your body. Bringing your hands to your ovaries, and taking your hips back and round. And even if you haven't got physical ovaries or physical womb, you still have the etheric blueprint. Your energy body is whole and complete, so you can work with the energy. So you're crisscrossing over and around, activating your creative energies. If you can imagine the creative energy that your eggs, like seeds, that they hold, there's all of this untapped potential. So bringing light and life into all of the possibilities. Breathing through your mouth. And coming back to the center. Rippling your spine, your belly forward and back. And maybe some things came to mind of where you're resisting or stopping yourself from accessing your inner power. You can speak those out loud. Release yourself from them. Breathe them out and let them go with love and consciousness. Through this movement, feel your spine rippling all the way to the end of your tailbone. Make sure that you speak them out loud. What would you like to release and free yourself from right now? And again, hold the energy at your hips. Shake off any residues. Letting go of all that stuff. And then again, weaving through your spine as she activates. And now speaking out loud, what would you like to create from this moment now? What have you never dared to dream is possible for you? You never dared to tell anybody, or hardly even dared to think it for yourself. And it may not come as words, it might be a sound, might be a breath, might be a symbol that you draw. Whatever it is, weaving it in and breathing it in. Dare to dream. And allow your light to flow. Come back to your body. Connect through your hands. And then back to our spirals, to our hips. Starting from the outside. Notice how much more freely your hips move. How there's less resistance. And slowly, slowly drawing these spirals in, becoming smaller. And in. Smaller and smaller till you find your center point. As you find your center, breathing into the central alignment between your fingers and breathing out through your root. Breathing into this central point and out through your root. Breathing in and out through your root. Gently shaking your hips. And feel this creative potential transmitting from your ovary space into your hands. And from your hands, into the all-seeing of your third eye, your intuition. All the way down, bringing your palms to the earth. Connect with the earth. Give your head a gentle shake. And breathing out through your palms. Sharing all of these possibilities with Gaia. And re-establishing the connection between you and her as she supports you in this physical world. Slowly, slowly coming up. Bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your sacral. Very softly, bouncing on your heels. And drawing yourself fully into your body. Give your whole body a gentle shake. And just checking that everything looks solid and real around you, that you are in this physical self. Okay. So, okay. Do we have time for any questions? Do you think? I know we're a little bit over the time.
I mean, often these calls run till 9:30, so it's if people want to leave, they can.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
It's always once I get going, it's really difficult to stop. And I knew
yeah,
that it had to be short, so I was like, okay, body, calm down.
well, like, yeah, considering that was like intuitive, and I think it was absolutely perfect, really perfect,
Oh,
truly.
thank you.
Thank you. Um, so
Looking at the
okay, there are
questions.
some questions. I can unmute, I can allow people to unmute themselves so that they can actually ask questions. So I will allow people to unmute. So there you go. You can, if you want to. Obviously take it in turns if you want to
Yeah.
ask actual questions.
Shall I answer? There's a
Yeah,
couple
answer
here.
the ones on there. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So thank you, everyone. I'm glad that you were feeling some heat and things happening. Okay, so will I be doing any more workshops? Yes, I'm planning on. I was hoping to do the event page today, but I seem to have slept most of the day. So my plan is to do it tomorrow, and I'm going to do it on the 19th of December. It's between the moon. There's a full solar eclipse, and then the solstice. So I'm going to do it on the 19th. So it's in between the two, and I'll be making an event page and things tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to do it. And what I'll do in this message as well, I'll put my website, and then if you want to subscribe, and then I'll harass you each month with various things that I'm doing, because I do one-to-one sessions online, and then I do retreats and immersions, and then the training. So yeah, if you want more information, and there's videos, and on the YouTube channel there's quite a few free sessions as well if you want to do more. So I'll put the website in a second. Then okay, the clicking fingers and the clapping, and sometimes it can be like this. It's if I feel that there's stagnant energy, or energy that needs to be activated and woken up, it's like I'm breaking up the energy. So even though we're not in person, it's like a different vibration, because my voice is one vibration. You're seeing my body, and you're copying my body is another vibration, and then these are another version in a slightly different way. So it's like I'm getting you from all different angles. And yeah, so it's really what I felt then was like my focus was about any stagnancy that was there, that I was thinking of, like the Kundalini's here, and then there's maybe stagnant energy over the top, and it's can't move. So I wanted to break that up so that you could get more with the flow of it. Uh, So, and I have, from the workshop that Rochelle did a few months ago, I've got some online pre-recorded courses as well. Again, the link is on the website, and the recording from it was, I think, 3 hours in the end, because I couldn't stop. The recording of that is on the online page as well. And then there's another course. Well, there's a few different ones, but there's a new one I just pre-recorded, which is all about abundance, and there's 7 sessions with that. So just looking.
There's a couple more questions. Where did you start learning about Kundalini in India?
Okay. I knew about Kundalini already because I'd been reading books by Osho, and in a way, it's difficult to say that there was a particular starting point, because really now when I look back, I had a huge activation when I was 7, even though it wasn't in the same way. But I knew about Kundalini, although I didn't know it was Kundalini, but I knew, my body knew it from when I was 7. So it was something that was a very gradual learning that went from a physical thing to then more mental, like more academic of studying it. But really it's all been through my learning through my body. And I was just really lucky that I've along the way found teachers who could support me with this. And the teacher that I studied with in India, sadly she died about 2 years ago. She when I met her, she was about 70, and when she was in her 30s, she had had the same thing happen to her, although she didn't tell me for about 3 years. And but because of that, she knew how to handle me, and she was supporting me all the time with this, even though it was later on that she said, "Oh, actually, this happened to me," and so yeah, I've definitely been led to the right teachers and the right therapists as well, who've been able to support me with it. So post baby, does it normally take a while to feel connected to the body? Sort of stiff, very okay. Yeah, and I've had 3. I had a cesarean, and then I've had 2 other surgeries to correct the cesarean, and also I had diastasis, where the muscles split, and I've had all kinds of surgeries cutting through the sacral, and it does take time, but it's completely doable, and I think it makes you more aware as well, because you've had surgery in that place. It's just to be kind and to yourself, and be patient with it. But yeah, totally, you can do it.
I don't know if Elizabeth has necessarily had surgery, but just generally, like after having a baby,
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, they say just on a purely physical level, it takes a year to get back into your body, you know, and then it takes
Yeah.
work, right, to connect back.
Yeah, and I think it's just to take it really softly, because your body has done something amazing
Mm,
having a child,
mm.
and it's, yeah, it's nurturing her and giving her the space that she needs, because for each of us we need different amounts of time to kind of come back together, and I don't think that you're never the same as before, so it's like it's a new version of you that you have to befriend
Mm.
and get back in. Yeah, it's like a new sleeve, and it's reconnecting with those new parts of you, and the changes in your body. um
That's so true, because each baby, you know, I've had two babies and I've had to, I was a different woman after each one, you know, like I'm
yeah,
different. It's very true, that is very, very true. You have to learn to
yeah,
know yourself again.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah. um and then, oh, so we've got, okay, yeah, so orgasmic, yes.
yeah, I felt
um
that.
yeah, orgasmic on a Monday night. Yeah, why not?
I was already feeling that before, actually. Josh is in like tonight.
Yeah. So yeah, this it again, it's an orgasmic energy. So in Tantra they talk a lot about how everything becomes orgasmic, you know, like the way that you perceive the world, the way that food tastes, the way that you comb your hair, um, everything is orgasmic. It doesn't mean that you have to be screaming and shouting in that moment, but it's a heightened sensitivity. And this can also be with the emotions of people around you, and of your own emotions, or like with today with the full moon, it's really strong. And so then this takes to a whole other level of where you are really clear about your energetic boundaries, and yeah, and where you direct your orgasmic energy with yourself and with others,
Mhm,
or into projects as well. It's
mm,
really powerful.
mm.
um,
There's one more question about do you feel the energy differently depending where you are in your cycle? Nat said it made her feel a strong sense that she's ovulating.
right, okay, yeah, and even day to day it feels, I think it feels different, and depending on the time of day, there's so many things that contribute to it. So, and it's something that's very organic. So, and I try not to get too kind of in the story of it. It's like, this is how I feel in this moment. This is how the energy feels, and that's what it is. And 10 seconds later, it might be something completely different again, and definitely 10 hours later, it's going to be totally different. So by doing that, it's always flowing, and it's not becoming stagnant. But I think that it does make you more aware of things like when you're ovulating, of yeah, when your period's going to start, and everything. And also the food that your body wants at different times of the month. It's everything at every level.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, Paulina said that the swaying makes her feel more strongly in her feminine. I mean, the way that we connect to our feminine is so connected to movement and flow in that way. And you know, it's, you know, one of the reasons that I was keen to do your workshop, actually, because I'm very aware of that. I can very easily fall into my masculine, and so I have to actually physically do something to move into my feminine energy oftentimes. So yeah, totally relate to that, Paulina. We've got a few
Yeah,
more here.
yeah,
Ying.
and yeah, with the pelvic bowl, and sort of urinary things as well after giving birth. If you think about the belly dance movements, the shapes of them, it's like sacred geometry. If you imagine the flower of life, and you've got these loops going round and over and over, these are exactly the shapes that we're making in our hips, um, with the traditional belly dance movements that Awaken Belly Dance is based in. So naturally, it's working with your muscles that are crisscrossing over the muscles going forward and back. And this also has a knock-on effect, with your digestion, with your bladder, with everything, with because it's strengthening and it's creating flexibility. And then with the breath, you're expanding into that. So any tightness, any scar tissue, it's going to start to crackle open. And that sound that we made, the crackling sound, is really good not only to break up the energy, but also, yeah, if you've got scar tissue from cesareans or any other from hysterectomies or anything, it's really good for kind of literally crackling it all open. Um,
Katie, can I just ask a question rather than type it out?
yeah, of course.
I just wanted to ask if, if Kundalini can help with the opposite. You talked a couple of times about people having kids, but if people have problems with that ovaries, like I've never had cycles, and I'm only 34, and maybe I've already been through the menopause. I don't know. I'm blocked, and I'm having hormone issues for years. So I just wondered if that's something I'm already looking into that. I'm already really drawn to tantra and trained in
Yeah.
tantra yoga, but just don't seem to be able to get that. I don't know, something. I just wondered if that can help with that, learning more about it. If you'd heard about that.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of women, I mean, people come for all different kinds of reasons, but
Yeah,
often it's about sacral energy being blocked. And
yeah,
um, and obviously I can't guarantee this is going to happen, that's going to happen. 'Cause
yeah,
sometimes people come for one thing and then something else happens, and because we're always going into what's behind, like
yeah,
that's the issue that's presenting itself, but what's the truth of
yeah.
what's behind that, what's the root of it. So then it opens into lots of different pathways,
Brilliant.
but definitely it's all going to have a knock-on effect with each other.
Okay,
So yeah,
I'll
yeah,
contact you
definitely.
anyway.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
um, Thanks for your question. So okay, so do you need to chant Om Namo Gurudev Namo? Okay, no, I don't do any chanting, and I don't subscribe to any line of anything, because I want to keep things as open as possible. So the belly dance movements give that core and they give that structure. Um, for me, I feel that I can fly in different directions from that really solid core. So I do use voice work and things, but it's not anything that's been prescribed from anywhere else. Um, okay, so afterwards, yes, I was getting to that. Um, yeah, post practice. Okay, so you might be feeling a little bit like what happened, what's happening in my body, and getting different feelings in it. So it's really good to drink lots of water, have something to eat. I always recommend chocolate or cake, and just to really help you ground into your body again. And if you feel quite spacey, what we did at the end where we were bouncing on the heels is really good. And also to run your wrists under the cold tap, and this will help to bring you much more back into your body again. It can also be good to journal or draw, especially because you were speaking out what you want to create and what you want to bring into your life. So maybe it would be good to create a picture or something so that you can look at that, have it next to your bed or something, and think, okay, this is what's happening. This is what I'm going to do now. But definitely having something to eat and the water is always really good. And you might have dreams, or you might have different emotions coming up as well, because although it was quite short, we were releasing and we were manifesting and creating. So it can bring up different emotions. So it could be tomorrow, it could be in the next few days. And so it's good just to be a witness to that, and again, not get too involved in the story, and just like, okay, this is coming up, and remember what we did tonight, and that it's probably related. Okay, your coccyx was crackling like mad. Okay, nice. Okay. Oh, thanks for putting the website.
Yeah, I've put
Yeah,
Katie's
thank
website
you.
up, and I've put my website up if you want to hear about the other full moon circles and the other stuff that I do. So you can go there if you need to leave. But yeah, I just put that up in case people are leaving.
Yeah.
Still, I'm keen to hear all the answers to the questions. So we'll stay as long as
Okay.
anyone wants to.
So how do you make the crackling sound? Um, so you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, push from the back of your throat, like ah. Then I do it until it tails off at some point. And I've noticed it's different if I do it when I'm upright or if I do it when I'm lying down. And I remember doing it as a kid. We used to do it. It's like a sound, and because you're pushing, it gives you that crackly. So yeah, maybe something to practice. Homework. um,
When we finish with the questions, by the way, if you're happy to, Katie, to close the circle with a little meditation,
yeah.
in case people want to stay for that.
Okay. And then, okay, so why I was breathing through my mouth rather than the nose. When you breathe through your mouth, it's directly connected with your vagina, your yoni. And it's quite difficult to find them, but there are pictures where it shows the inside of your vagina and the inside of your larynx, and they're completely the same. So there's this direct correlation. And also, if you think from a chakra point of view, the sacral and the throat are also very related, because we, especially as women, we're often shut down, or we shut ourselves down. We don't really speak what we want to. We feel like we can't express ourselves, or we get tied up with children and jobs and things, and we let go of our creative passions. So every time that we do that and we shut ourselves down in the throat, we're also shutting ourselves down in the sacral, and this can affect your creativity, your sexuality, sensuality, um, the way that you flow through life. So breathing through your mouth, it's a bit like if you're giving birth, and they often are saying to breathe in a particular way through your mouth. It's because when you relax your jaw, through your mouth automatically has this effect with with relaxing your sacral. And breathing through your nose, it's because I know with yoga there's a lot of nose breathing. It's more direct and it's more sharp. So one of my teachers used to say to me, if say I was lost, I was driving and I don't know where to go, breathe through my nose, because then the oxygen is going really directly to my brain to focus. And if I want to connect more emotionally, breathe through my mouth. So mostly with Awaken Belly Dance, we're breathing through the mouth, but there are specific points when we're working with the higher chakras where we breathe through the nose. But yeah, mostly through the mouth. Yeah. Okay, so 7.5 months pregnant, had 2 C-sections, went a home birth in water. What can I do to help my body open to my 3rd natural birth? Okay, so my son was cesarean, and then my daughter was home birth in water. One thing, I did yoga, also I was belly dancing, and I had hypnotherapy, because the cesarean and everything that happened was really traumatic, and I had a lot of fear about being pregnant again and everything. So I had hypnotherapy, and then I had a doula with me, and we had her at home and in water, and again, whole other story for another day. But because of the way the midwives had been and they were really pressuring me to have a cesarean, I didn't let them in. Well, I told my sister, don't let them in the house. So my daughter was born unassisted. So this, I'm not recommending do this, but that was my choice at that time. And I had a doula with me who is also a homeopath. And but I really, what I'd say is, for me, I had to work a lot on my fears, and because of what had happened before. But again, with Awaken Belly Dance, these movements are going to help to support your body to open. Why? Okay, so why were we standing? I leaned over with the noise. At the beginning. So I got you to do that. So I wanted you to really focus on your tailbone and um, and go more into yourself. And then with the sound, it was the crackling. It was to open up any energy that was stuck there. And also when I said put your head down, so that your spine was more in alignment, so that you could breathe the energy more clearly up and down through your body. Um, Thank you. So, yeah, you can totally do it. Yeah. Okay, so any last questions? If not, I will do a closing down.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks so much everyone for being here. It's really, really lovely to share with you.
It was really
Especially with this.
amazing. It was really
Yeah.
amazing, Katie. We had 50 of us on the call at the peak, and that is an amazing
Wow.
day. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and I know there were some people from America and from different countries. So yeah, it was
Very
really great.
special.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay. So something that I always do at the end of sessions, especially on trainings, because the energy is just going so high, is a really simple closing down. And I was thinking to do this with you because it's easy to remember, and you can do it for yourself every day as well. Because I really recommend in the morning doing a grounding for yourself. And on the Awaken Belly Dance YouTube, there's like a 5-minute grounding that you can use, and like an energy shielding. So from the Netherlands as well. Thanks. So I recommend doing that in the mornings, and then at night to do this to close down, because even if you have a conversation with somebody or you read an article about energy or something, every time it's opening you up and opening you up more. And when you want to go to bed, you just want to be more in your own cocoon, so that you aren't too open for sort of energies during the night. So what we're going to do is use our hands, and we're going to go over the 7 main chakras from the crown downwards. And I do it with my hands because I just find it feels more stronger when I do something physical rather than just imagining it. So if you imagine that your chakras are like lotus flowers and they're open, and what we're going to do is draw them in like the petals closing at night when the sun goes down, and then we're closing them and drawing them in to your body slightly. So it doesn't mean that you're blocking them or shutting them down or anything. It's just like a gentle closure, just to keep you contained within yourself. So with the crown, we're closing and drawing inside. Then the third eye at the front and back. If you move your hands to your forehead, front and back, closing and pulling inside. Then front and back of your throat, closing and pulling inside. Front and back of your heart, close and pulling inside. Then your solar, so just at the bottom of your ribs, close and pulling inside. Your sacral, just under your belly button, closing and pulling inside. Then your root underneath and your perineum, closing and pulling up and inside. And very gently give yourself a shake. Let go of any excess energy back into the earth. And then from underneath your left foot, visualizing a golden zip or cord that's coming underneath the right foot, around your right side, over your head, round your left side, and then joining back underneath your left foot. And then visualizing, you can use your hands as well if you want to stretch them out. So it's like you've got a cocoon of light around you, and you can make this cocoon any color that feels good to you right now, or it might be several colors. So you're completely surrounded in this cocoon of light. And then opening your eyes, check that everything looks clear. Okay. So yeah, also if there's any questions that you didn't want to put in the chat here or ask, please feel free to email me through the website and add me on Facebook. And yeah, if you want to ask me something or something comes up in the next few days, then yeah, please do.
Thank you so much. Will you come again sometime next year?
Yeah,
amazing.
I would love to. Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone. I have so much love for you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.